Southark Spotlight is brought to you by Maxwell Hardwood Flooring. Maxwell Hardwood Flooring, located in Monticello, has been producing quality, solid, and engineered hardwood flooring for over 28 years. The company and sister companies, Ouachita Hardwood and Townsend Inc. in Warren, are proud to be providing American-made flooring to distributors and retailers from coast to coast while serving our local communities right here at home. Maxwell Hardwood Flooring, your best start for a great finish. Today's guest is Doug Spencer, local businessman and athlete. He was kind enough to sit down with us to discuss his history and career in track.
Well, I started running track in the 9th grade when the junior high football coach, who was moving up to Little Rock Central, told me if I wanted to play high school football, I had to run track. And it turned out I was a lot better in track than I was in football. But back then they had a state meet for the junior high. And I ended up finishing 4th in the state. And so I kind of gave me a desire to continue through high school. And when I was a senior, I finished 2nd in the state. Next to a junior in my school, I was the fastest senior in the state of Arkansas for the 400 meters, or it was 440-yard dash back then. And ran on a mile relay that broke the state record by like 3 seconds. And so I got recruited by a good many schools, a lot of the local Arkansas schools, the University of Arkansas and Arkansas State. And I got a full scholarship to the University of Alabama. And that's really the reason I went to Alabama. And continued my career there. I was the last class of freshmen that just ran freshmen only. And then, of course, the last 3 years I ran on the varsity team. Honestly, I really wasn't that good in college. When you got to college, everybody was a state champion. I feel like I was blessed with certain abilities, but like a lot of young men at that age, I didn't train the way I should have. I'll go back to my high school. I had great high school coaches. I'm thankful forever and grateful for them. Coach Clyde Hart, who was my 10th grade coach, went on to Baylor University and coached Olympians like Michael Johnson and Jeremy Warner and others. And so the coach that succeeded him was Clyde Horton, who just passed away last fall. He was like a father figure to me. I love the man, and he trained me very well, and I attribute my success of getting a scholarship to him because, again, I wouldn't have done it on my own. College, I like to tell people I think I kept my scholarship because I tutored some of Bear Bryant's football players in their accounting classes. But it was a great experience. I got a great education, and I could have been a better athlete if I'd been more disciplined and dedicated at that time. Well, after I got out of college, I went to the Marine Corps, and when I got out of the Marine Corps and lived in Dallas, I found out about some summer track meets. And so, of course, at that age, I just competed as an open athlete and didn't train that much, but I liked to run, and I continued to compete. Then I found out about now it's called USA Track and Field. It's been called many things over the years, but they had what they call a submasters that began back then at like 35. They've now dropped it to 25. So when I became 35, I got to compete as a submaster, and then 40 was a true master. I actually moved to Warren when I was 38, and so I didn't get to compete as a master's athlete until I was 40 after I'd moved here. But they have a number of competitions across the nation, unfortunately none in Arkansas. And so I've been able to travel to many places, and actually there's world championships, and I've been able to compete there also. When I turned 50, they came along and had the senior Olympic Games, and so I've been able to compete on that level also from 50 and beyond. I've been blessed to compete in, again, several world championships. I've never made the final in the world championship, but I was one of the faster Americans and got to run on the relay. and ran the 4x1 relay. We've won out of the 4 national championships, world championships I've competed in. We've won 2 golds and 1 silver. So again, that's pretty much how I continue to compete, and when I can, in regional and associational and state and local events that might be Senior Olympics or USA track and field. I did go to Birmingham, Alabama earlier this year and ran an open meet. I was running with 18 to 24-year-old guys in the 60-meter dash. Obviously, I got blown out, but at that time, I had the best time in the world for the indoor 60. I ended up second in the U.S. After the national championship. I got second, but I ended up like 5th in the world. But that was the first time I'd ever been ranked number 1. So that was a temporary thing, but it was a blessing. Well, I mentioned the Birmingham. This year I went to San Antonio and competed in the Texas Senior Games, and I won the 100 meters, and I got second in the 50 and the 200, but the person who beat me is now the world record holder in the 100 meters. I'd never beaten him, but I beat him in the 100. But I also went to New York for the National Indoor Championships and finished second to that same person. I ended up, right now, indoors, I ended up ranked number 2 in the U.S. in the 60 meters, 5th in the world, and number 3 in the U.S. in the 200 meters, and only 9th in the world. I kind of give out the 200. And right now I'm ranked number 1 in the U.S. in the 100 meters and number 2 in the world. It is early, I will say that, but I just finished running it in the Penn Relays. The Penn Relays in Philadelphia is the oldest and probably most prestigious relays in the United States. It's over 100, well, this was the 126th running, and I was fortunate enough to win that. It was in front of like 10,000 people, so that was really a thrill for me. I've never run in front of that many people. But I will say this, the next group that ran was the 80 and above, and there was a 100-year-old gentleman in there, and the crowd just went nuts over that. So I think people are very appreciative. Even the young people have seen the older people like myself run, but the 100-year-old guy was quite an inspiration to me. I hope the Lord lets me live that long and I can still move, because I want to run when I'm 100 if it's possible. Well, I don't run as much as I used to. As you get older, you cannot continue to put your body through that. So the best training regimen for me right now is usually every other day as far as running. And most of the days I'll have hard days. A lot of people do hard, easy, and so forth, but most of mine are, if you want to run fast, you got to run fast. And so most of my training is I just do a short warm-up, and then I'll do some intense, what we call interval training. I may do 5 times 60 meters, or 5 times 80 meters, or 6 times 100, or 3 times 200, or stuff like that. A lot of people ask me, well, how many miles do you run a week? Well, I don't run very many miles a week because I'm a sprinter, and I just run short stuff and try to run an intense, fast pace. And alternate days, I'll do some light work, weight work, and so forth. I've always thought I needed to do some cross training, but I've just never got into it. I mean, biking or swimming and things like that. And I think that would probably be good. Kind of breaks the monotony sometime, but I just enjoy running. I like to use a line from the movie Chariots of Fire, and the missionary Eric Liddell, and he said that I know God made me for a purpose, but he also made me fast, and when I run, I feel his pleasure, and not to do so would be to dishonor him. And I do think God blesses all of us with certain natural gifts and talents and abilities, and that we're to use them to honor him, but also I think it pleasures him when we do it. And so I've kind of adopted that saying for myself, and to give him the glory for what I've done in my running. Well, Rob, that has really been special to me. I probably did a little bit of it before 1992, but in 1992, I think I was approached first by Keisha Ollison, who asked me, she was friends with my daughter, and asked me if I would help her in track. And then Kate Wisner, and had been helping Alonzo Hampton some. And then I met Jim Cuthbertson, who's passed on now. He had moved up here and he coached track, and so he and I just kind of started helping the girls more than anybody in 1992. And the basketball coach, Jimmy Allen, pretty much said, "Hey, I'll drive the bus, you guys can coach." And we had a great group of young ladies, and we ended up winning the state track meet. It was the first state championship that Warren had won in 47 years. And those girls really worked hard. They did what we asked, and I don't think we were the greatest of coaches, but we just worked them hard and outworked everybody. And then I continued to help in 93 and 94. We won the state championship again. In 95, I think we finished runner-up. It might have been 96 or 97, I kind of started helping some of the boys. And then on and off since then, I've helped athletes more on an individual basis. Right now, I'm coaching my other grandson, I call him, and who's a miler, half miler here at Warren. And he may turn out, he probably is the hardest worker I've ever had, and I'm really proud of him. I tell these kids, not everybody's going to be a state champion, but you can be the best you can be by just working hard and being dedicated and have desire and dedication. And I know that carries over into other aspects of their life. I've seen people that just get a little bit of success in track and field and they'll do better in school or whatever. And that would be my message to young people, that go out and be the best you can be. Don't compare yourself to somebody else. But through track or any sport, but in my experience with running, if you learn that discipline and consistency, it'll help you in all aspects of your life, be it a husband or father, or mother, student, worker, or what have you. I also like to encourage people that are my age or older, because as I've grown older, my really kind of personal mantra, I guess you'd call it, is finish strong. I see a lot of people and classmates and others that they get to a certain age and they seem like they think this is it. But I don't think it is it. As long as the Lord has left us here on the earth, we have a purpose. And my purpose is not really running, but I think through running I can share that message that to finish strong in whatever you're doing. Just continue to look for what God wants you to do in your life and pursue that and be the best you can be. Well, I'm appreciative of the people that have supported me, most of all my wife. She's endured a lot of things through the years. She's been my biggest cheerleader. We got married when we were very young, when I was a sophomore in college, and so obviously she's been with me for most of my running life and career. We've gone a lot of places. She sat through a lot of track meets to watch old people run. Well, I know when I started getting that way. My children too, they've always been supportive, even as adults. And but just a lot of the community, the coaches, I've been blessed here to be able to volunteer, and they've enabled me to coach some young people and help them and made facilities available to me. So I've been blessed from that standpoint, and for the community and living here in Warren, Arkansas. I don't think I would have experienced that in Dallas or Little Rock or someplace like that.